Yes. Real shit only. Let me talk to these niggas, Zeke. Somebody got said.
We are back with another episode of the Bars Podcast. I'm Lord Rehab.
Brownie Blends.
And we got a guest today, entrepreneur extraordinaire, club savant, promotional savant, and I'll let him introduce himself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony of Anthony Presents.
Yes, sir.
The founder of a few brands, but more specifically Sunday's Day Party. I've been doing events in the Bay Area for almost 20 years.
He's
Triple OG.
He humble though.
No, he very humble.
Legends come in all these Bay Area legends come in all forms. You know what I mean?
He's the promoter.
He's been keeping the vibes going for it. I go back about 12, 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
I knew his events before I actually knew him. I remember going to my first event with Anthony. Probably was back in. It was called End Up.
Yeah. That was
exactly, End Up.
That was that's where we were doing all the Sunday stuff. So,
right.
And I was mentioning earlier that was like our first really big push for Sundays back in 2014. That was like our spot, man.
Yeah.
That was a big vibe because I love the day party. To me, the day party is where it's. I guess maybe I'm just an old head, right? So when you get older,
day parties is a vibe, and actually, I think with Anthony, he was the person that introduced us to the day party in the fashion that we were seeing it in other places, especially southern states.
Right.
Like we would see day parties, but sometimes culturally being all the way on the West Coast,
right,
we a little step late as far as stuff like that. So when people first heard day party, like, what is that?
Right.
You were either in Houston, Atlanta, Miami, and then
because it's a real common concept, and we'll let Anthony get into it more. But it's a real common concept, like you say. You go to Vegas, day party heavy. Atlanta, swag surfing at brunches.
My first day party was Rehab.
Okay.
Rehab, yeah, Rehab. But see, is Rehab the day party or is it the pool party? Are those two different things?
I guess
feel like it's two different things.
They named the pool party that.
Right.
Because nobody's swimming.
Rehab, they in the water though. It's murky as hell.
Yeah, they were doing some crazy shit.
You gotta get there the first 30 minutes and then you just don't hop in the water for the rest of the day.
So when you decided to do a day party, because like you said, it's common around the rest of the world, but we think about, why the Bay Area hasn't jumped on board with the day party? What like inspired you to do that?
I mean, to answer that, two different things. Weather. Right? Our weather isn't like anywhere else, right? San Diego, LA, even Vegas. Like the weather is great.
Right.
That's one. And second, venues.
Right.
So we don't have those rooftops. We have them now in 2025, but 10, 15 years ago, you're very limited. So like you're indoors. You're stuck in like venues that are not as, let's say, glamorous or elevated.
Right.
So those were the big struggles that I had when I first started doing mine, because there was only maybe one or two that were open, that were indoor, outdoor. So when I pretty much discovered End Up, I was just telling him earlier, we were the first people to bring hip hop to that space.
Right.
End Up is a legendary event space that does after hours. They were huge in the gay market, in the house market, EDM market. So when I got there, it's pretty much we opened the doors to hip hop.
Honestly, you took the stigma off of End Up because I thought it was an LGBT club for the longest, right? And then even when that wasn't going on, they would have what was the big freaky thing they used to have the freaky event. What was that?
I don't know. Me and him never went.
Never went.
I mean, it just San Francisco is known for this. It's this thing. I've never been either, but all these people tell me that they've been, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought that's what they hosted. And then all of a sudden, it was just like the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like a hip hop place.
My first time showing up at End Up, I think, was maybe somewhere around 2015. I think. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
True Religions.
Heavy.
line crazy out the door, and it was
Big polo man.
right. But the bottle service was set up.
Yeah.
The vibe was good. I don't never remember any problems.
Yeah.
Nah,
no, it
diverse
A
crowd.
diverse crowd. It was just a great time. When did you transition from End Up to Sundays? How did that same location though, right?
So Sundays is the name of the day party that's hosted at the End Up.
Oh, got you.
So the
Got
End
you,
Up is
got
actually
you.
the name of
Got you.
the
Okay,
venue,
okay.
and they've been around since 1973.
Okay,
So it's
I got
old
you.
school,
I got
old
you.
school, and they're actually like a legacy business here in San Francisco. So they're one of the few rare venues that's been around. So
Right.
traditionally, like I said, like their market was never our market. Like I would never go there,
Right.
just because of the music format. Like I'm a hip hop R&B guy,
Right.
so I would just never go there because I was just not into the EDM stuff, or I was just never out till 4 or 5 in the morning,
Right.
traditionally, or at least in the Bay. So that's what we came up with Sundays. It's the name, that was the name of the day party, and we hosted it at the End Up.
Right.
Can we talk about young Anthony for a second?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, because I'm always interested in the correlation between people's actual career
Yeah.
and what kind of like sparked everything. Like, so young, there was maybe a house party or, you know, somebody charging $5.
Yeah.
And, you know.
If you want to get into, I'll get into that quickly. So my career was actually sports medicine. I'm a big basketball guy, and my direction was I was going to be Kobe's trainer. That was the goal. I was going to be Kobe Bryant's trainer. I was going to rehab him. I was going to work for the NBA, but specifically for him. That was the goal. So I was working at 24 Hour Fitness. I was a personal trainer.
That's some good knowledge, right?
I was one of the youngest master trainers there at like 20 years old.
Wow.
There was a basketball court there. It was in Daly City 24 Hour Fitness. A lot of Bay Area ballers and hoopers came out of that gym. So, which is crazy. So I grew up playing against these real athletes. So that was one part of it. But I was just a big Kobe Bryant fan growing up. Obviously, it was hard to cheer for the Warriors back then.
So Anthony presents as a hooper.
Yes, I just played
Hey,
today. My
shit,
back hurt
okay.
right now. I'm saying, I was like, oh, damn, I'm sore right now. I just hooped with some
That's what's
cats
up.
this morning. So,
That's some real Daly City
That's
shit.
what's up.
but that's one of the backstories, because when I was a trainer, one of my clients was the manager of a nightclub here, another legendary nightclub named City Nights.
Yeah.
So City Nights is also one of the longest running nightclubs in the country, actually. So at one point, it was owned by the same person for a very, very long time. And the general manager was actually my client. And for years, he was like, bro, come work with me.
Right.
Be a security guard.
And for anybody that don't know, City Nights was the introduction.
Yeah, that's your
was the
entry-level
club
club. That's your
introduction
entry-
for
yeah.
so
That's
many.
how you learned how to club.
That's how you learn how to club. That's how you learn.
100%.
That was the beginning of bipping too. Like they was bipping heavy back when we was going to City Nights. Like if you parked anywhere in the vicinity of City Nights, your car was getting broken into, and this was 30 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So to make my story really short, my client was the GM. He was trying to recruit me to be security. I was like, no, I'm too pretty to be security. Shit like that. And then he was like, come out with me. And then I was like, all right, I'll check out what my old, at that time he was old. And so I went out with him to City Nights. And, I've told the story before. I went out with him and I was like, I saw the lines, thousands of people outside. And then I was like, all right, do I wait in line? What do I do? I've never been to a club. I just played hoops all day. And then when I get there, we cut the line. So I was already like, wow, my client. All right. His name is Chris. And then I meet this guy. He's like 6'8", big dude, owner. I was like, all right, I met the owner of City Nights. That's cool.
Yeah.
Didn't have to put my ID out. I cut the line. I get in there, get free drinks. And then all these girls are coming up to this old guy. And I'm like, how does my client know all these people, right? Like, again, I was not in that world. This is like actually my first taste of like nightclub stuff. So I was never a party. I was a gym rat. I play hoops. I'm a trainer. And then I was just like, who is this old guy knowing all these girls, having all this access? And to me, at the time, so my eyes lit up, right? That was the shallow part of like my entry level of being a promoter, you could say, which a taste of it. And so after that, I was like, yeah, sign me up, man. Sign me up. What do I got to do?
It's crazy hearing you talk about that, because you're a real professional. I'll tell you that, right? I've seen you in action in the middle of a hostile party, right? and I want to know where, like, because the way you just described that, it seemed like an ideal job. Like it's just super lit, super fun, right?
Yeah.
But is it?
No. And that's why I said that word. I said that was
Yeah.
the shallow part of it, because it was the glitz and glam of everything. It
Right.
was the lights. It was the girls. I was single, free drinks, free. I didn't have to wait. Like,
Right.
I felt good, right? And so that was the entry part. But the second part, after a few months, I was like, man, I could actually be good at this.
Right.
You know, backtracking to my trainer days, I was one of the youngest master trainers in 24-hour fitness. And I just applied that. I'm a Kobe fan, right? So Mamba mentality. I'm like, I'm going to work, and
Right.
and I to this day I tell everybody, like, I'm just working.
So that's actually your process, Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality. You know,
That's
it's a year.
dope.
It's a year of the Mamba right now too. I just picked up my shoes earlier.
Hey, I want them red ones.
but that's the process. So it was like I didn't have a network. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a Rolodex. I didn't know
Right.
these celebrities. I didn't know these clubs. I just was like, I'm just gonna show up, be cool, introduce myself,
Right.
and if you fuck with me, great. If you didn't, it's okay. So, and it's still my process now. It's just where, like, hey, I'll be cool. I'll shake your hand. I'll meet you. I'll try to work with you. Try to do whatever the case may be. You know, I'm in
Right.
hospitality, so that's how it progressed. Where it was like, first it was about the girls and the drinks and the access, but then it was like, wait a minute, it's your birthday and I can
Right.
do something for you, and it's the most important day of your life, and
Right.
you're spending it with me. To me, that was the high. That was like,
See, that's a concept that I feel like people don't believe in much anymore.
No, of course
the,
not.
The idea of just building relationships
Yeah.
and one thing leading to the next.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done a ton of things that you didn't actually get. Probably did them for free.
yeah,
Probably set some assholes up in the club. You
For
didn't
sure.
like. It was like, I wish
Still
I did
do.
that. But
I
then,
still do,
But
you
then,
know?
yeah, right. But then down the line, it turned into something.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. And everything I'm doing right now has always been long term.
Right.
So, you know, even with what's going on next month, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting calls because people are referring me, right? The last one was
Right.
25 years ago. We were just talking about All-Star,
Right,
right?
right.
Like, now people are calling me because someone co-signed me.
Right.
And to me, like, that proves. So I was like, yo, I stayed solid. I did my thing. I stayed in my lane. And now people are like asking, hey, who is the guy I can work with in the Bay?
Right.
And now I'm getting referred. So that feels good.
Right. So before we get into the All Star, right? Because we definitely want to touch on that with you. Before we get into that, let's dive into what is a party promoter? What is the responsibility, and how has that title evolved?
Okay. Man, how do I answer that? So party promoters, there's two different types. There's a host, right? There's hey, you know, you have a network of girls, or you have a network of people that spend money and buy tables, or you're a cool college kid that can bring 100 other college kids here.
Right.
That's a host. So that's pretty much, I'm on the event producer side. So I produce everything, I put everything together.
Okay.
I find the venue, I come up with the concept, I hire everybody, I pay for everybody.
Right.
So that is the promoter side, but now I use the word producer.
Right.
So that's the side that I've always been on. So I've never just been like, the club never just called me like, hey, can you do this? Can you just bring a table or two? So I've never really been on that side. I've been the guy that's been hiring folks
Right.
like that. So that's what I try to tell people, because in Vegas, you do a lot of promoters, and those guys don't even work for the venues.
Right.
They're just people that are third party. So the culture here in SF doesn't really have that. But now, post-pandemic, that's been happening a lot more, because
Right.
on the promoter side, it's safer to just get hired by the club, make a little bit of money, and guarantee, versus trying to produce something and lose a lot of money, or have a shitty party.
No, go ahead.
Is the power and the leverage for the club owners the alcohol and the door entry? I mean, versus promoters, right? And so, like, working for them, the risk is less for both parties,
Yeah.
right? Because they don't have to hire or go out and try to do it themselves, or maybe don't even have the know-how.
Yeah.
You have the expertise, and like you said, I could just get my money and go.
Yeah.
But I can go for the big bag, and there's all of these logistics
Yeah.
involved, especially if I can't eat off drinks and door.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, is the power in the club owner's hands?
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so, because a lot of the times, if they come just from I want to open up a club and have no history, then they're lost, right? They have the money but no experience. So for them, my suggestion, or what I've seen, is they hire a great team. So they hire people in the marketing side with promotional background, or or talent buying background. So that's what I've seen historically. You know, there are some club owners in the Bay that were promoters.
Right.
And so they're great club owners because they understand talent buying, they understand people, they understand music. So that's how I want to answer that, because some club owners who don't come from like entertainment background.
But isn't it you have a location, right?
Yep.
Say Temple, just
Yeah.
throw that out there. Everybody knows it's a staple. You have a bunch of people that are looking to do something on a Saturday night. How hard is that to people? Just what I'm trying to figure out is how much of that falls on the actual. How hard is it for a promoter to actually, like, what is his actually responsibility? Because the place is there,
Yeah.
right?
So,
There's always
real quick,
people
I'm
looking
gonna
to go
add on
out.
that too, 'cause that's a good question.
Right.
I want to add on to that because the amenities in the club are what they are.
They are what they are.
What do you do? Like, am I following Anthony or do I like Vanity or Temple or
Right,
whatever it is?
right.
No disrespect. Or,
No, for sure.
Or promotion of any club. I'm just using them as an example.
So a lot of times, what I tell people is like, for at least for me, and it's funny because I talk to my staff. It's like no matter what, like a lot of people still do come for me, right? If I invite you, you're looking for me, and so the difference is I'm actually a decent host, right? I'm a good host.
Right.
So it's like if I'm doing your birthday or some people are in town and we're trying to show them a good time, I'll do my best to make sure to show you guys you're gonna have a good time, versus just sending you to a club and hopefully someone, the host there or the employees there, take care of you guys. Hopefully the wait staff or the table is good, right? So that's the difference. Is like I act like a concierge, like where it's like, yo, you want this, you want this, you want this, cool, I'll make it happen, and then go above and beyond,
Right.
with the signage, with the can, you know, with the flares, whatever the case may be.
Right.
So, you know, but recently, you know, a lot of people follow talent. You know, if you don't have talent, and we were talking about nightlife and such, and in the state of, let's say, San Francisco. San Francisco is a big entertainment city, so it's like they want to go out, but why are they going to go out? So you have to give them a reason, and now is even harder than before because you really need a great product, or they're not coming out.
It's with the closing last call at 1:30. It seems just like there's been better days. The Bay Area just seemed like when it comes to nightlife, it sucks right now. What do you think is the biggest reason that people are not high on going out in the Bay Area right now?
I mean, there's a ton of reasons, but again, back to what I was talking about with the date party stuff, venues, right? We're very limited. You know, you could probably name 3 venues at the top of your head right now.
Right.
10 years ago, there's probably 10, 15. 20 years ago, there was like 30.
Whatever happened to the Sound Factory?
The Sound Factory?
Is that still something back in the day?
Back in the day, yeah, it was a huge talent-driven event. That was like a playground for.
Is the building still there?
The building is still there. Yeah.
I just remember it being big as fuck.
They actually had a function there not long ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
But I think it's like a special event, not just regular.
I just remember it being a
It
huge
was
venue.
open every Friday, Saturday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
it was popping. It
Right.
was a great space, and like even let's say 25 years ago, like, and I just had dinner with like an old school promoter. It's like back then, there was like 30, 40 promotion groups.
Right.
It was a gang. Like it was a gang of promoters, and we're hand-to-hand combat with flyers, with shaking hands, and whoever had the cute promoters were out there on the dance floor, like soliciting at my own party, you know, like things like that. So now that's all gone. You know, just speaking about hosts and promoters, like that, let's say, career or job title is gone. You know, a lot of people are just working for the clubs and just hosting because it's safe, it's guaranteed money. Again, like. Producing your own event right now is the toughest gamble.
Does a promoter does it help a promoter to have connections in the industry to be able to bring people into?
100%.
Okay,
and going back to what we're talking about, like I've been able to take care of people whether they're kind to me or not.
Right.
But some of those relationships grew.
Right.
You know, and these artists, right? These artists that it was their first time performing. Like, you know, for me, I book a lot of local. Like, I work with a lot of local. I preach local. So a lot of these artists that are from here, they grew, you know, the last 10, 15, 20 years. You know, some are superstars. Some are still very connected in the music scene. So for me, that's been great because the bigger they are, I could be like, hey, man, this new artist, do you know them? No. And vice versa. I'm like, have you heard of this guy? No. You need to know about this guy.
But take a Draymond Green. It's my brother. It's one of my best friends. he not real. Obviously, we getting older. He don't want to go out much no more,
Yeah.
right? And he's not really high on San Francisco nightlife. Been there, done that. If you were to like, you were getting ready to throw a party, what would you like tell somebody like him to say? Hey, you should come out and have a good time. I got an idea.
But honestly, I treat this like a sport, so I need to understand what he likes, right, and then I'll custom build something, and that's the difference between a host and a promoter and someone a producer, because I can tailor make anything to make sure he has a good time. But again, I need that information, right? So when I get that, then I can build around him. Right. Obviously, yeah. Right. He's in basketball. He's older, so it's like, all right, he doesn't want to be out. Let's do the day stuff. Let's do the brunches. Right. Brunches right now are the hottest thing on the planet.
Shit, crazy.
Right.
Even in New York, the promoters are saying Atlanta restaurants
Right.
is going harder in the club right now.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, because I believe personally that it's like everything else. It's like music. It's like people want another type of experience. And
Right.
we've done everything, and I think COVID made us realize like this shit is just redundant.
Yeah. Did bottle service do something to?
Well, I want to talk about that
Because I'm curious.
I want to transition into that, but I also want to talk about. I want to talk about the evolution of the club and nightlife, but I also want to talk about when we in that. Let's specifically break down the Bay Area, because, like you said, for one, venues, like if you partying in the South in 2005, it's 2,000 people in a club, right? So when you're booking talent, you got 80,000 for it. I got 100.
Yeah.
When we try to book this talent and stuff in the Bay Area, it's like, bro, he get 80 and I got 20.
Yeah.
How do I explain to this man that we can't afford to pay you?
Right.
And I deal with that now, right? I do a lot of talent buying, and it's like all the agents, all the managers, even the artists, when I talk to them, I mention that. It's like, hey, we have a different market. You know, this is not Vegas. This is not LA. You know, we're not spending that, you know, or at least the audience is not going to pay $300 a head or $10,000 for a table. Right. So yeah, I mean, the evolution has been pretty wild for that, at least for the artist side of things. You broke it. But
Let's get them going.
So I'm really wondering. I'm good, Ken.
Check.
You hear me? So can we talk about bottle service? And I mean, you came in at a time. My philosophy is post BMF, right? Post BMF.
Is Atlanta the standard
No.
for nightlife?
No. I believe for
You leave Miami and Vegas out the conversation, right? Because those are places that are specifically for that, right? Especially Vegas. But outside of that, Atlanta, I like Houston. I think Houston is one of those. But is Atlanta the
The
standard?
only reason I say no for Atlanta is because a lot of it is driven off strip club culture.
Yep.
So I don't think that applies to every place. So strip club culture, like if we go in a business meeting and we having wings in a strip club.
Wings at 2 a.m. is the GOAT idea. Like,
you know what I mean?
Right?
Like, but
What time were we going there after?
Right.
Right. I'm starting to believe that the bottle section, the bottles and sections, kind of like people ate and got rich off of that, right? But where we're at now, our youth, they're not as excited about it. Right? It's like an OG thing.
Capitalism ruins everything, though. Like it just ruins because it started off as a good idea, right? Bottles, and if you can leave it at a good idea, you got this amazing thing. But then you have people like, how can we take this? Let's make more money off of it. Right. So let's clear out more of the space in the club now. And put another table here, and then put another table.
So we not dancing in no city,
bruh. If you walk in my Tracy barbershop, I put a station in every inch of that thing. So I'm not void of this. I understand it, right? Really, every inch of we're building. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like they're doing that in the club, but where do you draw the line to say, okay, we're compromising?
Well, it didn't become a compromise until the money has stopped being made.
Right.
because the excitement of being able to afford it, like just think about what sections are. They
Right,
high.
right,
The dance floor is down there.
right.
The sparklers and the flares come out.
Right.
Now the signage.
Right.
So you can say whatever you want. It's basically a text.
Right.
An Instagram post or a TikTok post on a sign.
Right. I talked to my daughter Ashley because she's 20. Ashley, don't hate me for this. 22. Don't hate me for this. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I talked to my daughter Ashley, and she literally, I asked her because she's in her real club phase. Right? This is that time between 21 and 22 years old. That's the time where you're hanging out. So I said, when you walk into a club, she parties in Sacramento, right? Bunch of her friends and her older sister, they all hang out in Sacramento. That's where they love to go. So I said, when you walk in the club and you see you don't have a section, and you see a guy at the bar versus people with a section. So like, how do you view the guy at the bar versus the guy with the section? You know what she told me? She said, "Dad, we really don't care. Like when we walk in the club, we're really just looking for somewhere to sit.
Right.
So we really don't even care like who the person actually is.
As long as we can sit.
People value the real estate in the club.
Yeah.
They value a place to kind of get. So how do you balance that? You know what I'm saying? It's okay. So it is okay to be able to go to the bar. But now the clubs have packed the club out with sections and made it super like there's no room to not have a
Do
section.
you remember how we had to be in the club to talk to the ladies though? Like it was almost a brag to your friends about how cheap you was gonna be when you walked in here. Like, I got 7 numbers and I didn't buy nobody a drink.
But do you think if you
Think about that.
right.
Now you have to spend, or you really can't afford it because it's 10 of y'all in the section. just
Right.
real shit.
Bro, I think women could do the math, bro. I think they can see. I think they can see 10 dudes in the section
Absolutely.
and know that 10 dudes win 200, 200, 200, 200. I think they could. The same way. Women know car body styles. No. The same way women know car body style. The same way you can pull up in the Benz and they know that's the old Benz.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't fool people.
But not everybody knows. So you do get the ones who's in the club leaking like, oh my God, they must be influencers.
Yeah.
They must be, you know what I mean?
So
like,
you're gonna find the gang. You're gonna find the gang goofy ones. But I feel like there's women there that like pull up to the club. They see the interesting dude with a little bit of mystique about himself, kind of quiet, chilling at the bar, and they see through the bullshit.
no. What you're explaining is the actual winner.
Right.
The ones in the section are pretending to be winners.
Right.
Right. So I believe even the guys in the section, it's like standing in a group of guys and catcalling. You actually don't want to holler at her.
Right.
You really don't. You really want to seem like you will, though.
Right.
Like, hey, baby, hey. And I'm in front of all y'all. If she's shy, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But if I would have just left y'all, I'd be like, hold on, y'all, give me a second.
Right.
And I go over there and be like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
You really got a shot.
Right.
You really got a shot.
Anthony, you have to have a.
I've been watching this. I'm like, yeah. I've seen
You
it.
have to have a story where you see dudes pull up to the club in a section, all the everybody look the part.
Yes.
But when it comes time to paying that tab, everybody is like trying to divvy up
Yes.
some change to figure this
You
shit
know.
out.
And you get the one who say, bro, I don't even drink.
Man.
The dude that don't even drink is paying
Okay,
the
so
tab.
I've seen it all and I've heard it all, and of course I don't want to like.
Right.
I'm not gonna put no names, but yes, there's been times where it's like there's 15 debit cards on one bottle, and I'm like, guys, what are y'all doing?
sick.
You know, and there's a thing called a chargeback. So some people think they're slick. Being a producer, I work with the venue, so a lot of guys will run their card, and then next day be like, wasn't me. And then the club will be like, do you know this person? And I look at the ID, and I do know the person, and I'm not snitching. I'm just like, nah, I never seen this person in life. And I text him like, bro, please stop doing that. You're making me look bad. So stuff like that happens. And then there's people, like you just said, at the bar. Little do you know, they own the club. They're just chilling. They're hanging out, right? No jewelry, chilling.
Right.
And then you got your people in there, you know, looking the part. But again, you know, to each their own, right? Like I don't ever judge. People want to have, you know, a good time. You know, they're on the internet. They see this image. They see the high life, and you know, some people will put themselves in debt to just have that one night. But again, we don't know what people are going through. On a serious note, like, you know, these people could have got a divorce. Right. People could have, you know, a death in the family, and they just want one night to just feel good, right?
But being around it so long, you know the difference between
100%.
Like, somebody, you know the difference between 100%.
Right? No, for sure.
But the question is, when you ask your mom
what?
about the bars, right? So we went from bars, and like when I was young, my mom, my dad, bars was the shit. Right. Like different ones, and they even had softball teams attached to the bars, right? Vintage Inn, the whatever, you know, like different ones, Apartment C, Sports Page, right? But if you ask your mother, who was that guy? Like, what? So who's the guy from 1978 that was the guy in the club popping the bottles? It's usually the damn fool spending his paycheck buying everybody a drink.
For sure.
Right, and you know, everybody in here knows you are a mailman.
Yeah.
But tonight you the ball.
Honestly, bro, I feel like I'm a cowboy at heart, right? I literally you watch any old western. What do you see? You walk in the saloon. Mm-hmm. You go to the bar. You the coolest dude. So you know what I mean? See a young lady, offer a drink. Yeah. How do we get back to that?
Man,
that's a good question.
But to answer your question earlier too, it's like, what I've realized too is, like you said, ask our folks, our parents, like how it was. For me, I think from just watching the evolution, it was like, it wasn't really the guys that were it was people that were dressed really well,
right?
And the dancers, the guys and ladies that can dance. Those two people were getting the most attention. It wasn't really about the section. It was just like, yo,
that motherfucker can dance. That's it.
Right?
That's it.
But there's no dance floors. There's no dance floor. There's no room to dance floor because the club promoter or the club owner.
Can we just call a spade a spade?
What?
We really enhanced the socially awkward guy or the nerd that had a couple of dollars. That's where we're at now. But
also the too cool motherfucker like you, Rap. You want to go in the club and you want to stand there. You just want to hit the weed and you want to be too cool. You don't want to.
When I was young, I liked.
You ain't dancing like this.
But when I was young, I liked to dance.
But it's corny to niggas think it's corny to dance now, bro.
Though, but we got to look at it. Where did that start? Was it post NWA, or was it post like 2000? Cash Money, like where did that start? Because you're not on the dance floor, no. Because every year there's always a dance, there's always there's always something, right? But you're right. I did over time somehow get too cool. But at my elementary school dances, nigga, I did a spin move, like I did a
because the club became a place that we go to watch other people.
Yeah.
Niggas run the IG for inspiration, cause your immediate circle ain't good for shit but hating. How you hustling just to get complacent? We never settle, run these bitches then we pick replacements. About my money, niggas more concerned with getting famous and putting fake jewelry on layaway and missing payments. Hopping out of foreigns with a lot of miles, trying to fool